Hello and welcome back to Niche Tea, where we talk about drama happening in communities you may not be a part of. Last time we talked about Dragon Con, the everything nerd convention that happens once a year in the US in Atlanta, and specifically an issue they ran into this year where some artists needed to be removed from Artist Alley at Dragon Con because they were selling AI-based art. Today, surprising probably not many of you based on just the sheer number of tags I got in this, we're talking about the potential cheating scandal in the federal duck stamp competition this year. I guess not just this year, it seems like this goes kind of deep. Starting at the top, the annual duck stamp competition is an art-based competition because, as you know, stamps come in all kinds of fun art designs, and every year the federal government puts out a duck stamp and there is a competition for what art goes on it. The funds that the federal government gets from selling these duck stamps every year, like once they're finalized, goes towards wetland protection and restoration. So this is truly kind of a wholesome thing on all fronts that really everybody can kind of get into. Competition is open to any artist who wishes to enter, so feel free to get in on that. Each year, the contestants are given a short list of duck species that they can choose from, and then they make their art from that, and then they submit it, and it goes through several rounds, and then via anonymous judging, a winner is chosen. So, what happened? The 2025 contest just wrapped up, and a man named Jim Hotman took first place. His win is the thing that everyone's talking about. Most likely, if you've already heard about this situation, you heard about it from another creator named Kira, who did a really in-depth video about the entire contest and some of the conversation that's been going on around the contest itself and specifically Jim's win. I'm gonna tag them below. Please go check out their videos. They have like the insider, in-depth like breakdown of everything relating to this. It is really fascinating. Now, getting back to talking about Jim's win and why people feel weird about it. The first reason is that Jim has won now 7 times since he started entering, which was in 1988. So it's been a while, but he's got a pretty high win rate. This year, being his 7th win, broke the record for the most wins previously, which was 6, which was also him. That on its own wasn't too off, I think, for most people, but it felt really off when people learned that there are actually 3 Hotman brothers who enter this contest, and all 3 of them have won multiple times, all since 1988. Jim has won 7 times, Jim's brother Joe has won 6 times, and their other brother Bob has won 3 times. When you take that all together, the Hotman brothers have a 41% win rate in this contest since they started entering the contest, which sounds suspicious. And then on top of that, there's a very specific look to their types of paintings. They are brothers. They develop their art alongside one another. There are going to be similarities there. That's natural and to be expected. But since they've been functionally dominating this contest for the last 40 years, they have also started to set the tone of what people look for in the contest. And their art style hasn't changed too much over these years, which isn't unheard of or uncommon or anything. But altogether, what that means is in the year 2025, there are people looking at these stamps and seeing that Jim Hotman won and are saying, that one, that art style one, that looks really old. Look at all these other cooler things that younger people would like. And that's where a lot of the confusion comes in. And it's like, oh, is this just like a dynasty? Like, are these guys just being given the win because they are Hotmans and they've like established themselves here? Like, are the judges their friends? Are they getting, preferential treatment, or even just being chosen because they're celebrities, that kind of thing? All of those things together make me think like it's not out of the ordinary that people would look at this sideways, right? Here's the thing though. I can't find a single thing about even this conversation going on anywhere outside of TikTok. No articles, no Reddit threads, barely even a tweet. I found a tweet asking if anybody else was really deep in the drama surrounding this, and the response was, the what? There truly is zero indication that there was any kind of foul play going on here. From what I can see, the Hotman brothers have followed every single rule. Every time one of them wins, you're not allowed to enter for 3 years. All of them have done that. It's just there are 3 of them, so only one of them can win. So they're certainly going to up their chances that way. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the entries and the judging is entirely anonymous. There are no names attached to any of the art. Now, obviously, the Hotman brothers have a very specific art style. Since the criteria for being a judge involves being well-versed in art, but also conservation, waterfowl, that type of stuff, those people are probably very familiar with the contest and the brothers as a result, and thus their art style. But at the same time, and this is something that Kira brings up in their video on this, because that style has become almost synonymous with the stamp itself Over time, just because so many of the stamps were won by these brothers with this very specific art style, people have started to emulate that art style more and more with the idea of it like that's what it needs to be to win. So ultimately, that even makes it harder for the Hauptmann brothers to be cheating because theirs would have to stand out in a way that it might not if people are specifically emulating their art style. But again, there's truly no evidence that these contests have not been won fairly. To me, this just reads as a situation where people who are not at all involved in it came in, saw those facts as I laid them out earlier and went, that looks weird. And it does, but when you add in all the other context around it, plus you consider that all three of these brothers are proficient artists, like they are not just screwing around. There's just no reason to think that anything bad is happening. But if you don't like the style and you want it to change, then you should enter next year. I want to see a bazillion ducks. I want someone to submit like a full Picasso version. That's what I like. Let's really turn it on its head. Looking into this, though, I did find reporting of a scandal from 2013 in one of the state-level competitions, because each state has one in addition to the federal one, assumedly just so they can generate more money specifically for their state wetlands, so that's fine. While South Dakota seemingly has an adult and like junior version of this contest. Well, in 2013, a 6-year-old named Madison, who won the junior version of the contest, was then disqualified from the win for alleged plagiarism. 6-year-old. I'm just going to read this summary to you because it's like sending me into space. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service initially upheld the disqualification, announcing that Madison's entry was stripped of its winning status because the agency received some information, that's in quotes. They ultimately reversed the decision and reinstated Madison as the winner just 4 days later, stating that her win was justified. The agency ducked further controversy with the reversal.